American Vandal is one of those shows that when, at least in my opinion, when you hear about it, you just need to watch it. I feel like even trying to describe it, there's just really no way to fully appreciate what it's about without seeing it. That being said, American Vandal is a show that's set up like one of those very popular true crime documentaries we've seen recently in the news that have been super, super popular, except this one is kind of taking that and running with the theme and making it like a mockumentary. Their crime is a vandalism at a high school setting where 27 teachers' cars were spray painted with 27 penises. And now there is a boy who's kind of like the class degenerate, I guess. He has been blamed, even though he proclaims his innocence and says he wasn't the one that did it, and he's been expelled still. Like, they don't really care that he says he didn't do it because everyone thinks he did, except for the boy who decides to do the documentary about it and try and figure out if he really did it, and if not, who the real culprit is. So it's just such a crazy thing, and like I love how well they work with it, like that they really treat it like it's a true actual one of these crimes you would see in a documentary. Like they talk about the spray paint can is like the murder weapon, and it's even red the color so it looks like blood. There's also this really cool thing where they talk about the splatter from the spray paint can and how you can kind of figure out which car was started, like which was the first one because of where it landed, just like you would with actual blood splatter. So I do like the attention to detail they put into it. I think it's really, really funny, and the characters are also really, really well fleshed out. I think the actors, like a bunch of them I didn't know. I knew a couple of them from little things here and there, mainly Disney things actually, which is very weird when you see a character you knew from like Disney 5 years ago talking about dicks now, and you're just like, what? I like that because it really made them become the characters, and I feel like the way that they all kind of spoke and talked and said things and acted was very, very true to how it would be in real life. Like they played off each other well, and there were times when like you would realize something and then like the way they said it was like how you would actually react if you were realizing it in that moment, rather than just seeming like, okay, this is our dialogue. Like it felt more authentic and more like they were playing off of each other, and it was really, really cool to see that because it feels like you're actually watching the documentary. And I think the show really does its best to make you feel like these characters are real and this documentary is real. Only 8 episodes, but like I was rushing to finish it because I really wanted to know. I was disappointed by the last episode. I'll say later in my spoiler section because I don't want to spoil you. So if you haven't seen the show yet and don't want to be spoiled, just know that I think you should definitely watch it. It's so funny, it's so different, and yet it's very well done for like what this day and age is, and it does have a lot of good social commentary that's kind of underneath that of just different stereotypes in high schools. I really recommend you check it out. But if you don't want to be spoiled, thank you so much for stopping by. But bye for now, non-spoilers. So basically, the thing that disappointed me the most about the end episode was that we didn't get a true confirmation of who drew the dicks. And I mean, when I'm sitting there, like the closer it was getting to the episode being done, like the more like frustrated I was getting. I was like, I don't think they're gonna tell us who did it. Like, I just want to know who drew the dicks, which is not a sentence I thought I would ever be saying, and yet here we are. So I do think the Krista Carlisle theory is a very, very strong one. I don't necessarily know if she did Van though, because I feel like Van is a harder one to sell, just because I feel like he would have had to be at the camp to be her instructor, like someone he would have had to check in or something. So I definitely think he was her alibi. But I don't necessarily if I believe that he's the one that spray painted the dicks, you know what I mean? Even though someone pointed out, very interestingly enough, that if you put Krista Carlisle and Van, whatever his name is, if you put part of their names together, it spells car vandal. So that's interesting. However, I just don't think he's the one that spray painted them. I think my running theory is that it could be Gabby's ex-boyfriend. What was his name? Brandon? Yeah. Krista was at the camp where Brandon and Sarah got together and Brandon cheated on Gabby. So maybe Krista used this kind of information to coerce Brandon into doing it, and he was the one that found the spray paint can at the party. So it's not that far of a stretch to think maybe he gave it to Krista at the party to hold on to for later. And I think there's a lot like deeper meaning to it because there's so much stuff that was left unanswered, which annoyed me. Like we never found out what the coach actually said to Krista that got her so rattled, and she did make the team, so it's not that she did an incident report for not making the team because she didn't really have anything against him for that. So there are theories out there that maybe he had an inappropriate conduct with another student, and Krista was trying to protect this student and not saying her name, but wanted to still have this justice served, you know? So I think that could be interesting, because Sarah is definitely a person that in theory had really nothing to do with it. Like, they made her a much bigger part than she needed to be, and even Peter admitted that when she confronted him, that they kind of blew her part out of proportion. So I feel like maybe there's a reason why we're supposed to focus so much on her, and maybe there's something we're missing. I also think potentially it's just like one of these shows that every little thing could mean something you don't realize. So like when they're going through the teacher's files, and one of the teachers that they thought could be the first tagger says like, oh, he stole my vape pen, and that was like a complaint against him. I wonder if like you go back, if you see anyone that had a vape pen. But I wish we could know, you know, because like obviously the writers know who did it, and I like definitive, conclusive answers. And I get like, I kind of realize more at the end, it's not so much about who did it, but it's about the fact that we're supposed to look at ourselves and be like, we were so willing to say that this person did it because they fit the type of what we expect. So it's not really about who did it, it's more about like what really, so it's not really about who did it, it's more about like looking at ourselves and our stereotypes and our prejudices and our presumptions, and how that can lead to wrongful convictions. And it got super deep when Dylan actually ended up spray painting a dick on Miss Shapiro's driveway, because that, I think, touches on the fact that like you get these people who, even if they are innocent, or maybe they're not completely innocent, but you know, they're kind of like no one really wants to put up with them. It's like when you get like that, they start to believe that there's no other choice for them. So like that's what Dylan did. He was like, I don't really see anything else that's here for me, so like why don't I just become this person everyone thinks I did? And it was very like sobering. I think like it was fun. A lot of the show was fun. One of my favorite lines was when they were talking about alibis for the morning 9, and those two guys had mono, and Sam was just like, oh, both of them? Like, I'll let you draw your own conclusions from that. And like, I literally have not laughed like that at a show in a long time. Like, it was just like so like unexpected, because it was literally what I was thinking. Like, when they said both of them, I was like, oh, both of them at the same time? And then he said it, and it was just funny because it makes it seem, again, more realistic, that like that is something you might think or you might say in that situation. And it's just cool how they would play off the camera and, you know, look at the camera and make like funny faces or kind of like react to things, like just that. And then also Gabby and Sam's whole kind of friendship relationship that we didn't really know about. Like, it just had cute things and was really funny, but then it had that sobering reality that like Dylan's life is kind of, just because he is innocent for this doesn't mean people are going to start like seeing him as anything different. And it was, I don't know, I'm hoping they make another season. I don't know, I think it would have to be new characters, which is sad because like I said, I really like these characters, but I feel like there's just only so much you can do with them. I am thinking potentially they could keep Peter and Sam and just have them focus on another crime in the town or in the school, so then you could have like new students from a different grade maybe that you're focusing on more, or other people in the town or something like that, because I really like Peter and Sam. I think those are my two favorite characters, so as long as we can keep them, I'll be very, very happy. But I just think it was such a good, different show, you know? It was just so funny to watch that kind of play out and them treat it so seriously, like I said, and break everything down and have their evidence board. And it was just really amazing, but also like it felt realistic. Like, obviously someone took it way overboard. No one would do all this, but like the things they were doing were real criminal procedures and real finding evidence and stuff like that. So it was really, really awesome. And like I said, the actors were very impressive in how much they got into their roles and how much they really played off of it and in the moment and like played with the camera and kind of just being there and investigating this as if they were really doing it. So I really, really liked it, and I cannot wait. I hope there's a season 2, and I hope they keep at least some of the characters, like I said, but I really don't know. And also, if we get like definitive proof about who did the dicks, I would be very happy. So if you have seen American Vandal, please feel free to leave your thoughts about it down below in the comments. Also, make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel down below to be told when I make all sorts of new videos. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Leave your theories, of course, as always, down below for who you think the real culprit is. And I will see you next time. Bye!